What would be the best spot to drink a beer in each Pokemon region? This is a question that I've been asking myself ever since I saw this video talking about what would be the best spots to drink a beer in Mario Sunshine. And if I'm uploading this video on the right day, May 8th, it will officially be my 21st birthday, which means I am finally at the legal age to drink alcohol. And I figured this would be the perfect video to release for my 21st birthday. But before we do that, I gotta make one simple change real quick. So let me just walk off screen, let me grab this, put this on, and there we go. I'm not gonna waste too much time, so I'm gonna get straight into the rules. For rule number 1, we're only going to be sticking to cities and towns. If we were to count routes and every other landmark for each region, then this video would just go on forever. The second rule is that I can only select one place per region. I will include some honorable mentions, but just to keep the pace of the video going, we can only select one place that I would pick. Third rule will be that the anime can be used as a clutch for some places. Let's face it, some of the locations in the game, they don't look all that visually pleasing. Not to live in and not even to drink in. But the anime will often highlight these places in a much better light, thus increasing my chances of possibly drinking there. A fourth rule is that scenery has to be a highlight. I don't just want to get drunk. I want to get drunk in a place that looks really nice. So how these towns and cities look will be a huge benefactor to my choice. So starting off with Kanto, there were quite a few picks that I could have chosen from, but I decided to go with Vermilion City. One of the big things that is making me pick Vermilion City is the harbor. In my mind, there's just something satisfying about just cracking open a beer, looking out in the ocean and watching as the ships sail by. And outside of the harbor, the city itself is honestly pretty big and very beautiful. And while I'm skeptical on if this place would accept drunk people, the idea of chilling at the Pokemon fan club and just talking about Pokemon while you're enjoying a beer honestly just sounds like the most chill thing you can do. But with that, Vermilion City has my vote, and we're gonna go to the region right next to it. So moving on to Johto, there were a lot of places that I had to consider, and for our first honorable mention for Johto, it's gonna be Ecruteak. I really wanted this to be my pick, especially when you consider that this place looks really beautiful whenever they're hosting a festival, but honestly what won me over was Olivine. Just like with Vermilion City, what won me over for Olivine was the sheer view of the ocean when you're sitting by the port. Despite not being much of a beach person, I am a big fan of ocean views and anything regarding the water. That should probably tell you which Pokemon I'm gonna choose and which game I'm gonna select when Gen 10 comes around. But besides that, not only do you have the lighthouse, which is a nice little standout thing for you to look at whenever you're drinking your beer, but off to the side there is gonna be this little sandy area which would be perfect for you to sit down and just drink your beer and enjoy the view of the ocean. And honestly, this is just a perfect 2-for-1 deal for me, because this port will also take you to Vermilion City. So if I ever get bored of one place, I can just get on a ship, go to the other place and enjoy a beer there. But with that, Johto is done, and we can now move on to Hoenn. So when it comes to this region, it was a little bit more tougher for which one I wanted to pick, because as I mentioned earlier, oceans are a thing that I really do like, and as you know of Hoenn, this place has a lot of water, meaning so many places had these beautiful views, but it really had to be narrowed down to just one. When it comes to honorable mentions, Lava Ridge Town was one of them. One of the reasons I considered this place was because of the sauna that this place had in the Pokemon Center, but then I had to think about it for a bit and realized that being drunk and being in a sauna probably would not mix well. Another honorable mention was gonna be Lily Cove. As I was looking at it, it seemed like it had everything I needed, but then I quickly remembered that this is also the same place that has the Team Magma or Team Aqua hideout base right off to the side. So quickly had to discard that one because I do not want to deal with them, especially when I'm drunk. The last honorable mention that I had was gonna be Rustboro. It honestly seemed like it had everything. It was a nice looking city, it had a nice view of the ocean, and it even had a nice view of Mount Chimney in the background. But what would win me over would be Slateport. This place essentially has everything that Rustboro had going for it, but with the addition of 3 different things. Number 1 would be the beach. Just being able to relax in the sand with a cold beer in hand is honestly one of the best things I could probably do if I were here. The second reason is that this place also has a Pokemon fan club. Just being able to sit back, relax, drink a beer, and talk about your favorite Pokemon is honestly something that I would want to do in my real life. The third reason is is that this place also has a harbor looking out to the sea. Why does every place that I like have some type of ship port or harbor in it in some way, shape, or form? But anyways, just being able to sit by the port and just look at the open sea is a really enjoyable and relaxing thing that I would want to do. But yeah, with that, Slate Port is gonna take the win for Hoenn. A lot of tough choices that I had to pick between for this region, and I really do love it, but this is the one that I would definitely drink at if I had the choice. But with that, we could finally move on to Generation 4 with the Sinnoh region. So just like with Hoenn, there are a lot of things to consider, but a lot of them eventually had to be left out for my final pick. When it comes to honorable mentions, we have Veilstone, Hearthome, Solaceon, and Sandgem. All of them were close picks, especially Veilstone with how it looks at night, and Sandgem was pretty close, especially since it has a view of by this point. So what could I have possibly picked over my choice of the ocean? Well, my dear viewer, the choice that I went with was Floaroma Town. You're probably wondering, why on earth would I want to get buzzed in a place that is filled with nothing but flowers? And to answer that question, wouldn't you want to do that? Especially with how beautiful this place looks too. There's just something calming and relaxing about this area, despite the fact that there is alcohol in my system. It just makes you want to relax and just chill out. Maybe even water a few flowers while you're there. This place is without a doubt the place I would want to drink at if I was in Sinnoh. Thankfully, that was a quick one, so we can now officially move on to Unova. So moving on to Gen 10, we don't have too many honorable mentions. We only have 2 honorable mentions, and those 2 are going to be Undella Town and Asperty City. Undella Town was so close, especially since it is such a beautiful resort area, but it also had a view of that ocean.
Good amount of that ocean.
And while Asperty didn't come close, it did have that nice lookout view that I always thought was beautiful whenever I played Pokemon Black and White 2. What eventually won out was Verbank. Not only do we have this nice view of the ocean right next to this port, and my god, how many ports am I gonna mention in this video, but for me the main reason why I would want to drink here would be because of the Verbank gym. But I'm not going there to battle, I'm gonna be there for the music. I know I've been picking these more calm locations, but I think I could spice it up just a little bit and being able to enjoy myself while I'm drunk listening to some music. And while I don't necessarily care for this place, you could make the argument that the PokeStar Studios is a nice little added bonus. But with that, we are now done with Generation 5, and we can now move on to Generation 6 with Kalos. Alright, so getting into Kalos, this was another case where choosing where I wanted to drink was pretty difficult given how many good locations there were. And when it comes to honorable mentions, we have Aquacore Town, Cyllage City, Amberette Town, and Kylote City. A lot of these locations have very good scenery, especially Amberette Town when it has a nice open view of the ocean, but ultimately, the choice that I wanted to drink at was Anastar. I don't think I really need to go into depth about why I chose Anastar City, as the massive sundial, especially during sunset, is honestly one of the most beautiful places in the Pokemon games. The only place from our honorable mentions that was somewhat close to winning was Cyllage City. And honestly, this was gonna be my pick at first because I really do like Cyllage City in the actual games. But honestly, even with the view of the ocean, it's such a dull and boring looking place if I'm being completely honest. It's just nowhere near as colorful and vibrant as I would want it to be. And while there are other vibrant, colorful places in Kalos, I don't think any of them capture what I wanted, unlike Anastar. But with that, we can now move on from Kalos and go into my favorite region, Alola. So getting into Alola, you would probably think that this is gonna be one of the more harder choices for me. And I thought so as well, but when I really looked at everything that I had, I really only narrowed it down to 3 places. And out of those 3 places, 2 of them in our honorable mentions is gonna be Konikoni City and Hau'oli City. Hau'oli City is pretty close as it has basically everything that I would be looking for, with a nice looking city, a beautiful ocean, a place on the beach for me to relax while I drink, and was just overall a solid pick for me. And when it comes to Konikoni City, there honestly isn't really much here. Sure, you have a nice view of the sea and you have that nice view of the lighthouse, but none of those things really mattered. If that's the case, then why is Konikoni City here in the honorable mentions? Well, that is very simple. It's because of Olivia. And I know some of you are probably thinking, was I really about to consider choosing this place for one person? And to answer that, have you seen Olivia? would you not also want to be here? But ultimately, Coney City wasn't my choice anyways. The actual spot that I would choose to drink at would be in Melee City. And while Melee City is a nice looking place on its own, the main reason that I want to drink here is because of the garden. Melee Garden is like one of the few places that really stuck out to me on this island, and with a nice view of all the grass and water, as well as having a place for you to sit down and enjoy your beer, I ultimately decided that this would be the place that I would want to drink at. But with that, we can move on from Alola and go straight into the Galar region. So getting into Galar, there honestly wasn't a whole lot of places to choose from. I only had one honorable mention, and that one was gonna be Hulbury Town. And before anybody asks, did I only pick Hulbury Town because Nessa is there? Yes I did. But ultimately, I decided to go with Ballinlee Town. I think everybody can agree that this is the most visually stunning place in the game, and therefore would be the most enjoyable place to have a beer. Would this place be a little bit disorienting with all the colors all over the place? Maybe, but I think it's a risk that I can take at least. And before anybody asks, no, we cannot include the Isle of Armor or the Crown Tundra in this list. Not that there's anything against DLC locations, but those locations are set in the Galar region. And because I can only select one location per region, they're gonna have to be left out this time. But with that, we could finally move on to our last region, which is Paldea. So getting straight into Paldea, there weren't too many places for me to pick from. The only place that came close that is in our honorable mention is gonna be Levincia. I chose this place as I think it looks pretty good during the daytime, and I think it looks really beautiful during night. But honestly, the choice that I decided to go with where I wanted to drink is gonna be our hometown in Cabo Poco. I chose this place because one, it's our hometown, so if we weren't up to going outside and drinking, we can just do it at home, but also because it has a nice view of the sea as well as there being a private beach area. I guess really the only big downside is that the beach is behind our rival's house, but then again, it's our rival and she probably doesn't care too much. And you know what, just as a little bonus, I'm going to include Kitakami as well. And before anybody says anything, Kitakami is not in Paldea. It is confirmed to be somewhere far off from it. And well, there really is nowhere else for me to go besides Masui Town. Sticking to my rules of only being able to be in a town or a city, this is really my only option. And while it's not great, it's not the worst option, as I believe the festival hall is a pretty good place for you to eat food and drink, creating a somewhat chill environment for me to enjoy and be at. But that basically covers every single region that I would enjoy a beer at. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. I spent quite a bit of time trying to look through every single location that I would enjoy, and hopefully by the time this is uploaded, I am out enjoying my birthday. But with that, I will see you guys next time, and I hope you have a great day.